You know, we often talk about the decline and fall of America, right? From an economic point of view, mostly on this show. And that might sound defeatist to some people or even premature to others. But when you consider the mounting debt, the political infighting, our declining population, our declining birth rate, we're certainly struggling as empires in the past. And it feels like we're in borrowed time. But then you travel around this country. I'm really lucky at least almost once a month to get out of here. And it's clear that we should not be painting the entire nation with the same brush. But with that in mind, it's very hard not to be pessimistic about the future of urban America. There are more media stories now about the decline and fall of urban America, but it was my next guest who actually warned us about this a long time ago. I'm going to bring in now the Hill columnist, Kristin Tate. And, you know, Kristin, you've been talking about the collapse of urban America for at least a decade, I think. I don't want to put an age on you, but you were always kind of focused on it from a fiscal point of view, fiscal mismanagement. But now it feels like maybe crime is the thing that pushes us over the edge, right?
Yes, and you know, public officials love to talk about hate crimes. Hate crimes are always in the news, and hate crimes are very horrific, of course, but these same public officials, Charles, are failing to acknowledge another kind of crime that's become very common in our cities, and it's crime that is motivated by the opposite of hate, which is crimes of apathy. We are seeing a huge rise in urban areas of crimes brazenly committed against complete strangers, often for seemingly no reason. So this is terrifying residents in big cities. Perfect example, a couple weeks ago, I'm sure you saw it and many of your viewers as well, we all saw this video of a 60-year-old woman in New York City being pummeled with her own cane over 50 times by a complete stranger. So many attacks like this. People shoved into subway tracks and left for dead. Commuters and little old ladies being hit in the head with bricks or just savagely attacked. I mean, every serious crime category in New York City has seen a double-digit increase percentage-wise since 2018. It's happening around the country in other cities, too.
Yeah, to your point, it's not just New York. And what's always kind of crazy about it, the person that was taking a video, you always wonder why they didn't put the phone down and help. But you did, and this reminds me of the headline I saw from a recent article of yours. You said the shocking crime trend that nobody wants to talk about. And a half a dozen horrific crimes in my mind when I saw that popped into my head, right? These are things that we have seen, but there's no commentary, right? There's no finger pointing. There's no marching. I mean, why are we diverting our eyes? Why are we as a society keeping our mouths shut?
Because to admit this is a problem is to admit that the defund the police leftist solutions to this crime have utterly failed us. And to your point earlier, why do people stand around like zombies filming these attacks with their cell phones? It's because we've all seen what happens when people do try to step in and stop these attacks. Look at Daniel Penny. People are terrified to get involved with these things. But of course, there are several problems causing these kinds of attacks. One is just that we've become a godless society. So many people do turn, unfortunately, to drugs and crime to kind of confront their purposelessness. We've seen the breakdown of the American family. 1/3 of American kids today are raised in single-parent households. 57% of black children don't have a father in the household. That's heartbreaking. We've known for years two-parent families are the best way to prevent juvenile crime. And then on the policy side, obviously, lawlessness has just become tolerated in these cities, especially since the George Floyd riots.
I only have 30 seconds. Are you seeing any silver linings? I mean, other than people fleeing these cities, and is there any chance that this turns around?
I do think so, especially because now leftists are having to deal with the consequences of their own policies. You had New York City Mayor Adams say that they're a sanctuary city for years, but now that a few thousand immigrants have been sent to New York City, they're finally realizing this is a problem. It's the same with crime. We saw a Democrat Party official in Minnesota who was carjacked in her own parking lot. She was calling to defund the police just a few years earlier. So as leftists deal with the consequences of their own policies, they will start to realize that maybe these policies aren't working out so well.
It's a lot easier to roll out the red carpet and put out the sign to the world, we're open, come in any way you can get there. Then they show up at your doorstep. You're like, what are they doing here? You're supposed to stop in Texas. Kristin, thank you very much. It's been too long. Talk to you again soon.